DrDrunkenstein is here. And we're going to get this thing kicked off. Lichess Titled Arena 8. See how this goes. Ooh. He's in as DrDrunkenstein. And we are getting a game? Yes. There we go. Okay, so this was the... Oh no. I'm getting a network error reconnecting. That's not a good start to this tournament. Network error reconnecting. Okay, yeah. Did you catch those first 12 moves? Neither did I. Okay. Hopefully that was just a one glitch and over. That's it. No more glitches. Okay. So this is Manchester United Pro. I got some feedback about the name on Twitter. Not 100% on that, but that makes a lot more sense than Mud Pro, as I have been pronouncing it for forever. Bishop there looks pretty invasive. It is an unprotected piece. And the bishop is ready to go here. Wants to maintain the bishop. Now this guy is going to roar. Roar! Break down the dark squares. Defend e6. Securing here, the bishop wants to reposition. How to rearrange, maybe a queen here someday. Oh, this is going to be shattered. Oh, I don't know. Okay, the rook up, and then it's a weird spot for the rook. I figured the rook would be better placed here. King and pawn endgame. This seems like a draw. There's some progress over here, but the kings offset each other. I see this as a draw. Nothing happening on the queen side, nothing happening on the king side. And there isn't a Zugzwang. I don't see that happening. No path. These pawns just create a wall. And yeah, the king could always go back and forth. Even if you concede this square, it'd still be a draw. Yeah, and plenty of time for these guys to pull it all off. Now this is shut down in the center. There's only one pawn move apiece. Yeah, and they'll easily be able to... Notice neither player wants to even offer a draw. Did Carlsen offer a draw there? He may have. I don't have the spectator thing. Okay, draw it is. Alright, we're seeing it right from the beginning now. A draw to start, so a point apiece. And what do we have? Bishop on the long diagonal. Okay, black is up a pawn, and it seems like he'll be keeping that. Whoa, queenside castle. Okay, he's gonna bank some more material. It's not easy though. This bishop is a real killer. Pointing right at the heart of the black queenside. Could pick up a pawn. Take here and take here. A strong knight. This is a really cozy home. Queen is hit. Oh, does she have a square? Can you spare a square? No, she doesn't have a square. Don't forget about that bishop. Little Seinfeld reference. Oh man, that tricky knight. What a dangerous, dangerous piece. It's a backbreaker. 14 seconds came off. Keeping track. Okay. Oh man, these are too much fun. Are we going to get another game? He's not in the game yet, is he? No. Let's see how the standings are real quick. Okay. And back over to Carlsen. Ivan Neviansky, we'll say. C5, knight c6. Okay. Yeah, he's done this before. Combating the b3 system. Notice this structure. Fighting for that d4 square. And if the knight was on f3, there's a push in reply to that d4. He's losing a pawn, is he not? Where's the compensation? Well, bishop pair, maybe. Tough to defend c2, actually. There was no good defense. Okay, I don't know that was all calculated. But anyhow, the bishops are real killers in this open position. Absent of any center pawns. King will be fine on f7. And he's okay with the self-pin. I would have gone here. But what do I know? Bishop back just to offset the knight. Just clearing the way. Knight is guarding c6. No good forward moves for the knight. Struggling to find squares. Doesn't want to damage the structure. Values the bishop pair more than killing the king side. Be different if there was some follow-up and you could attack the king, like if the queens were on. Not the case here. Black will be quicker to get the king in the center. And yeah, we're even on the pawns. Now this one is not as clear. This one is a win because black will be able to distract this pawn and then he'll be able to scoot over and get c4. So he's building up for an f4 advance. One way or the other, this pawn's coming up and this king patrols the whole 4th rank. And here we go, you're going to see it in action. Could also go here, yeah, since this square was given up. This is a much simpler approach. Yeah, and with 2 pawns around, this is not a draw. And this guy's flying. No stopping him. We'll probably have a resigner right about now. Yes, we do, with 20 seconds in the tank. And another quick, where are we at? Just a quick skim here. Okay, Carlsen is in 10th. Against the number 2 guy. I'm forgetting who this is, Armenia. Andriasian, I'm thinking? That's coming to mind. Anyhow, what did we have opening-wise? Sicilian-ish? No, not really. No exchange of the D and C pawns. So some kind of a closed Sicilian, let's say. I blinked. I missed the beginning. And he's giving up this nice square. This knight is a bit off from occupying it, so develop a bishop. Don't want to budge with these guys. Petrosian idea. Boom, 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 boom. Lock it down. Grab some space. If this square is conceded, this knight's going to hop in extra fast. Okay, now that the rook isn't here, he feels a little bit more confident playing b3. Queen maybe on g4 is nice. First activating the rook. e6 is sensitive. This knight can't budge. Now it can. Just getting out of the line of fire. The knight may want to move. He's just fighting for this square. e5. Rook has to move. 8-second edge. Any good bishop move with a discovery on the rook. No checks. I feel like the queen is better posted here somehow. Just clearing the diagonal. Okay, here we go. Queen h5 around the corner. This queen's going to be hitting a lot of stuff. Oh, that was a nice move. That was a nice move. Oh, this is a nice counter. Defending the knight. So now this is, you could take the rook or the bishop. Yeah, he's going to be up the exchange. You follow that? Oh, that was so quick. All right, up the exchange. Let's rip open files. Even if it costs a pawn. It doesn't cost a pawn in this case. There's a check. Just mopping stuff up. Get behind the pawn. 3-second edge. And this should be easily converted. No, I should never say that. This guy's around. A rook off. Yeah, he should be able to do it. Get the rook over here. Sidestep the forks. Good separation between the king and rook. Okay, now you could sack the rook for the knight. We'll see that. Here we go. Knight is a gunner. And then here we go. 6 seconds to do it is plenty. No stalemates. 4.2. He is, yeah, he's fast enough. Black resigned. And with that, where do we stand? Top 10. Carlsen has 9. Astana chess, flawless so far with 12. Okay. He's not in a game. Sometimes he'll be in a game and it won't be showing. Every once in a while. Not in a game yet. Are we sure? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Okay, we're there. Ooh, the slippery one. Okay, Penguin. Let's see what the Penguin has. Mr. Andrew Tang, a Scotch. Ooh, this is a bit different. Leela Chess 0 played this against Andrew, the Scotch, not this exact line. as far as the queen e2, the e5 and queen e2 stuff, but it's much different at this stage. Maybe he was reviewing. Saw some deficiency. Can't take like this because of takes, and after the knight takes, the bishop will fall if I could draw an arrow. Okay, this is a monster pawn. It's a killer pin. It takes a lot to get out of that. Bishop was under fire. This pawn is going to fall. But these are pretty weak pawns. Very interesting position. I like a reposition of the knight. Light square bishops are gone. Okay, queen. Should be pretty cozy on this f3 square. How to dislodge it exactly, I don't know. King's going to park right here? Maybe. Okay. Oh, what's that? Oh, that was so slick. Not sure it's... Oh my goodness. Look at all these in-betweeners. Wow. In-betweener city variation. Queen takes rook, queen takes rook. Rook takes queen, rook takes queen. Whoa, he's really in the tank here. Wow. That's the long... Okay, well, he's never losing this. Black is better. I maybe made it sound a bit more exciting than it really is, but... Okay, I don't think either player should win this. We're going to have a repetition, yeah. Penguin knows he's better here, but also knows he's down 7 seconds on the clock, so a draw seems like a good result. Astana still with his foot on the gas. 16 with fire. 5 wins in a row. What kind of performance is that? 3,030. Okay. Wow. I don't know that I've seen that before. All right. Terry R2. The doctor is in 17th place. 2888. He says, I want the B4 square. So this knight's going to drift in there one day. Positionalness. Where does the bishop want to go? Probably here, anticipating this kind of stuff. You don't want to get hit with a fork. If here, you could jump in there. Oh. Doesn't want to put the knight on that square. Bishop, some piece, wants to be there. Still a pin. Bishop wants to watch over these squares. Super sensitive. The knight jumping in. This square is kind of sticking out to me. Few squares, few pieces eyeing up f6. Now black breaks down the center. Ooh, white exposing this unprotected knight. Uncomfortable pin to be sure. Not how you draw it up. Bishop's given a kick. Flight squares produced. Maybe a timely knight f4. Not right here. I think there's some issues. Oh, maybe there is. a little back and forth. Okay. Oh, really? Repetition? No. White says play. White says play. That's all I could say. Okay. Game on. Yeah. Black used a lot of time there to secure the bishop. I think black is doing fine now. Pieces have good squares. Sacking the queen. Ooh. Okay. A little bit uncomfortable. If this knight is taken out, this knight gets a good square and this bishop is out of play. Black will have coordination. Okay. Another pawn is going to go. No. Knight takes knight. There's rook takes rook with check. Evening out on the clock. Rook is gone. Take here. This is pretty cozy. Oh, he's threatening mate. Careful. Still threatening mate. No time to take the rook. Rook over here. 7 seconds. Bishop back. This is looking good. Black has perfect coordination. The queen is a goner, and this rook is going to fly. Over here, pick up a pawn. Pick up this guy. Watch out for the sneaky b3. Okay, 5 seconds. 5.0. Run, pawn. You're really fast, and you're going to get a queen and be able to stop this guy. Yes, mate in a couple. 1, 2. And he knows it, and he resigns. Okay, where does that put us? Oh, Baba Ramdev is in there. Astana still with his foot on the gas pedal. 20 with fire. Can that be maintained? Okay. Board chess. No, not the only FM in the top 10. All right, we got another game. No time to look at the top 10. But the number 12 guy, we have time for that. Oh, man. Too much fun. Okay, Caro-Kann. Advanced variation. Black can be happy that he got rid of the bad bishop for white's good bishop. White has a very good square to work with, though, must be said. Typically, you would want to take with the knight, but that would drop the h4 pawn. Castling by hand wants to keep the rook here to allow for a crazy h-pawn advance at some stage. No space. This knight wants to be over here. It's a really cozy shelter for the black king. You don't want to allow the queen to get here, but that's... I don't see how you really pull that off. Okay. Yeah. Just don't let the queen get here. Keep the queens on as black. And it's a cozier home for Team Black. You might even want to step up here just to prevent any pawn sacrifice idea. Rook here. This is wonderful for black. Pac-Man. These pawns are all going to fall with check somehow. Don't let the queen get here. Here we go. They're going to fall with check. Gotta go there. Just throwing a bunch of checks. Time burners. Yeah, just take this guy, and then you're defending against the queen c6. Another check thrown in. Offer of a queen exchange. That does it. Yeah. Game over. A resigner for Team White. Okay, where does that put us? Baba Ramdev? Astana, finally showing he's human. Thuger. International Master. Carlsen is still at number 12 spot. I think he has fire now. Yeah. Okay, anyhow, a 4 would be big here. Probably throw him into the top 10. Which is shark infested. This whole tournament is shark infested. Yeah. Okay, so trying to fight against this space invader pawn. I think black is the better side here because of this guy. Black is in a position to always secure this point. What about this advance? I think that's in place as well. And the queen is still here. I don't think he even had to give that up. Oh, going for this structural change. Oh, that's interesting. White has maybe overcommitted on this A file, and that's why black went with that sequence to ensure that the A file is shut down. And white is up a piece. I missed what happened there. I'm not going to go back. Maybe I will. Oh, yeah, the old boomerang. The old boomerang tactic. Gotta watch out for that one. Oh, Astana. Okay, it was bound to happen. There are 1,153 spectators. Okay. Duel Master. Let's see what we get here. Number 9 versus number 10. G4. Just take it, he says. I want the G file. I'm going to castle queenside. Fast development, and without the light square bishop around and a white knight on that F5 square, he's a real killer. Maintain the pin? Yes. He is a giant, giant pest, this bishop, and that's why black is in the tank right now. Oh, this knight is here to stay. Oh, save the knight. No. Take the knight, just open up the E file. Queen's going to be a real killer. Check, and there goes a pawn. This is going to be sensitive. Queen's going to scoot over. Keep pressure on this point, and now he's gone after queenside castle. Ooh, boy. Knight here. Be very scared. Be very scared. Get a rook involved. Rook up and over. Queen exchange. Declined. Queen block you could take here. Whoa! Watch out for pins. Can't take that knight. Oh, man. Where to go from here? Where's the tactic? Oh, nice. Overloaded king after takes here. Take like this or like that. Some order is looking pretty. Maintains the bishop with h3. And he's just roaring here. Roaring. Why did I say roaring there? I don't know. He's rumbling. Alright, endgame. Where's the technique? He's up a pawn. Better pieces. Safer king. Yeah. Oh, nice. And then after rook takes, knight here. Sorry for the delay. He's up 14 seconds as well. Rook takes and a fork-a-roni. We'll do it. Black knows it, throws in the towel. Puts the doctor at 5th. Not in the game yet. Doesn't have a loss yet. Just a couple draws. Paired up now against FM Creative Player 007. Watch out for the knight here. Black is in time to defend against this with rook c8. Bishop outside of the pawn chain. Simple chess. Rook c8 now. Okay, white's going to be going with this kind of stuff. Opposite sides castling. Black is better here. Already working with an open file towards the king. Knight takes pawn, king here. There's a chop and then a chop. There's a big problem. Knight takes, there would have been queen takes queen. Black has pocketed a pawn with that sequence and will grab another soon. Rook takes. Wow. Rook takes, there's a discovery, and now we're going to see the sequence. Taking with the rook. I love that. Okay, white's going to get a pawn back. But even so, black is still going to be better. Up a pawn. No, he could take with check, otherwise there'd be a back rank mate. Kind of an important detail. Flight square available now. Find a home for the knight and things are cool. Where's a good home? Not really a fan of that g5 move. Is this the way to do it? How to untangle? This knight's a struggling piece. Bishop is in control. A real bother. Okay, now that would have been good too, no? One of those? No, he's just gonna secure this guy. Push, and now the king plays a role. Rook's gonna get active. King up. Yeah. There's some serious progress now with the king. How far he has come. And black is gonna win this. Get behind the pawn and things are cool. Inch on up. It's exactly where you want this guy. One way or the other. You're getting to this square. An early promotion. You had to try something. It's down on the clock. Okay, easy peasy from here. Push the pawn to victory lane. And a resigner or loss on time. White resigned with 0.00. How does that happen? Okay, anyhow, in first place, FM Bohr Chess. I believe that is Carl Bohr. Impressive. Okay, Carlsen is in third. These games are getting, the pairings are coming in really fast. Tough to even spend a second to see anything, really. You're lucky if you could see the top 10. Okay, there is no rook b8. Don't forget about that bishop. And a fork. Oh, this is a backbreaker. Maybe take here. How do you want to do it? Could have went for a couple pawns. Yeah, quick resigner. That was a fast win. How fast? 21 mover. And with that, he is in first. 31, 29, 28, 27. Rebecca Harris is in there. Grandmaster Narditsky, 200. Whoa, that has to be a record. 275 are registered. I don't know how many exactly are competing, of course. Opper, next opponent. Caro-Kann, exchange variation. Yes. Here we go. That knight f6 variation, capturing with the e-pawn. Easy to pull off a lot of fast moves. Long term, this is where white benefits, having a 4-3 majority on the queen side. This will be interesting to see. How to try to convert this endgame. Yeah, it's necessary to keep the king over here. h6 is sensitive. This tension will remain. Or will it? Or will it remain? You'd exchange one rook and then park the bishop here. If ever this, there's that. Rook is getting very active. As my voice just cracked there. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say if bishop here, bishop there, if ever it takes, you don't want to allow the rook to vacuum up the f4 pawn. Tough to get at this guy. Okay, well. Oh, isn't it? Oh, the rook was hanging. I think he maybe forgot that detail and he was prepared to go king here. Okay, even on material, there was an opportunity for a check in winning that pawn. Okay, the bishop is a very, very good piece right here. The rook's going to get active. I think you have to break it open like this. Yeah, it needs another file to work with. This king does a good job helping defend. This one, this is going to be a rat race. Let's see. Yeah, you can't activate that rook so easily. A draw? A draw on board. Yeah, these guys could rattle off another 50 moves with that amount of time left. Okay, 33-30. Board chess tied for first. Has fire. Even though it's in second. DrDrunkenstein first. Okay. King's Indian attack. Alright, let's see. How does Carlsen, how does the world champ defend against this? What does he do? He launches all 4 pawns on the queen side, taking notes. He continues to push pawns. Until when? Okay, this was the objective, huh? So now from here, bishop a6, and then looking for a c4 break. That's the way to do it? We'll see. c4 it is. And now you take here, you want something on this square. What is that something? What would be most invasive? A knight, he says. And here we go. This is very instructive. Now, can white work around that knight? No. Notice how the bishop and the knight were real killers. This knight does not want to budge. Number one, oh, okay. I was going to say his number one task is to stop knight f6, but the bishop takes out that killer and up the exchange. His pawn will fall. Bishop's in a pin. Yeah, you could take the bishop and then march, or no, just keep the pin. Yeah, just going to sack some material. Yeah, there's nothing fancy going on now. Queen check, everything's coordinated. There's no attack against the king. He'll resign right here. He knows it. There's nothing good going on. He throws in the towel. Okay, and with that, ooh, okay, he's in second. 36, Rebecca Harris. DrDrunkenstein, second. Not in the game yet. 36, 35, 33, 31. What's the difference? 12-point difference from first and 10th. Next game, MSB2. Oh, a bit of a delay here, no? Okay, there we go. French defense. Rebecca Harris, yes, I just caught it at the corner of my eye here in the Twitch chat. That is Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky. Wonderful bullet player. Wonderful player in general. Super fast. Okay, e5 pawn. Alpha Zero would be proud. The AIs would be proud. So what to do from here? Okay, light square bishop, a gunner. Black will be playing for this at some stage. A little punch. I like that little pit stop on d2. And then queen d3 in a pin, setting up h5. Oh, these little details. No play. Gives up the b4 square, but ensures that the rooks will not have play on the queen side. No time to take here because the... yeah, there's a pin there. Okay, so now it's a different story. Oh, because of a fork, I didn't see that. I was going to say it's a different story with the queens off. Now this starts to become more of an issue, but white is up the exchange at this stage. Black does have 2 connected pass pawns in the center. The king's going to try to get up here. Maybe going here first? No, taking first and then ensuring that there will not be a dislodge of the king with f. What square is that? Yeah, f5. So what to do here? How to make progress? I guess gonna get the rook here. Oh, hang on, hang on. That would be a real killer. Knight check and then another check with a back-breaking fork. That's why the king went here. Or backed up like this. There was a fork. Oh! That was a mouse slip. He wanted to go onto the d6 square. Down on the clock. This might be his first loss. Oh, this pawn is fast. He's a fast pawn. He's got this guy. Yeah, he's there just in time. Okay, 9 seconds. He might be able to draw this. I don't know. He could push. Can't take. King and pawn endgame is no good. Best was to stay here, I think. Now it's squeaky clean. Yeah, he threw in the towel. Down a lot on the clock. Huh. Well, that was a mouse slip. That was a mouse slip, I believe. Rook d6 is what he wanted. Okay, number 4, Borcha. 2 versus 4. First time they are playing. Well, Carlsen had many accounts. So anyhow, first under these 2 accounts. Let us see. Bishop pair for white. What more to add? A nice long-term advantage. Bishop sticks around here, securing these weakened squares. Knight wants to be on this square. Yeah, a slow build-up is fine. Knight on c4 can be a little bit uncomfortable. I think white wanted to go for this kind of stuff, but the timing is a bit off. Now he's in position to do that. Oh, there's also queen d3. There is no way to attack the queen successfully. Defend the pawn, centralize the rook, and prepare for a knight jump in this d5 square. Queen on c2, tucking the king in first, doing a lot of prep work. If you haven't noticed, Team White, just centralizing the pieces, not budging with these two pawns in the center. e4, f4, queen on f3, no, watch out for discovery. Back about 10 seconds, Team Black. And here we go, now the knight is a goner. Yep, prep work, and only then a pawn break. Kill a rook. Offer a queen exchange? No. How do you want to do it? Offer a queen exchange now? Take on f7? Can you get away with that? Doing it with the rook. Still up 10 seconds. Oh, didn't see that. Skewer. Hitting the rook, setting up a discovery, setting up a mate threat. Double check and mate on one of these two. Could take with the rook. Why isn't he taking with the rook? Is there something better? Okay. He's up a minor piece. Control the knight. Yeah, still up on the clock too. This shouldn't be an issue at all. Centralize the king. Plenty of good ways to do it. Yeah, just no activity for the knight. And no time left for Team Black. That's going to do it. Up 10 seconds. Seemed like he was up 10 seconds the whole time. And with that, the doctor is in first, but it is close. 37, 37, 36. 33, 33. This was the winner last time. The Pro. Manchester United Pro. Okay, Terry R2. How did that first game go? Forgetting what opening it was. Okay. Anyhow, he won the first time. Let's see what we get. That's a bit fancy. Knight on the edge there. Wants to hunt that pawn down. And white's clinging to it. Kind of has to bend over backwards to do it. True Gambit incoming. Maybe he's still going to get it. Gonna give the knight a boot. Hang on to the pawn? Is he really going to go for this underdeveloping or just treat it as a gambit? Treating it as a gambit. Oh, that was slick. Pawn takes, you take the knight. Fancy, fancy, fancy. Okay, in the end, I think you're finally going to grab that pawn. He wants to do it. In what way? How to take this point? Okay, opposite color bishops. Black is the better side because this bishop is shut down because of this structure. Okay, knight's going to circle into this square, I would think. This is all backed up. Oh my goodness. Poor bishop. Okay, he has a little bit of air. If he didn't play that, the bishop is officially cooked. This move saves the bishop. Okay, he has some life. How quick, how quick. And what to do from here? Yeah. Takes out the knight. This is a pretty invasive pawn, but no. This guy's gonna fall. No, or is he? He had an opportunity to take, another opportunity to take. He's in a pin, and it's defended with check. 5 seconds back as well. Is this a move? No, not quite. There would have been rook takes. Okay, white is the better side here, to be sure. Up a pawn, better king, better rook. And yeah, he just resigned. Carlsen resigned. That one got away from him. There was a better approach somewhere in there in that middle game. Didn't manage it though. Okay, Manchester United Pro. Their score is 7-1 under these accounts. So let's see. Scandinavian to start. Okay, there's still a lot of time left. An hour 23. Bishop pair for Team White. Securing the d4 point. And oh my goodness, we're going to have Queen f3 and then a push after the knight blocks. You're in a pin one way or the other, and this is a real killer of a bishop. Unopposed bishop. You don't have to take this knight too soon. Centralizing the pieces. And yeah, real killers. Now you could take here. There's a queen check as well. The king is caught in the center. There is no returning, the bishop says. Another check. Don't be surprised if there's some sacrifice nearby. Right now, that was a move as well because of a follow-up skewer. Oh, that's going to hurt. That's really going to hurt. Queen here, king here, and the queen is a cooked piece in the corner. A resigner. Okay. 39, 3 39s. None with fire. Let's see what we have. Astana chess. Looking for his first win against the doctor. Has dropped back to 14th after his amazing start. Okay. Similar to the game against Terry R2. Treating this now as a gambit. Black is down a pawn, has some squares to work with. The one that sticks out is c4. Okay, not a happy piece. It's more than just a square. It's the piece activity and the influence it has on this bishop of all pieces. So up a pawn, but it's a struggle. Knight here drops this pawn, so improves the king first. Great squares for the pieces. Goes into a pin. Is there some tactic? Taking the knight first. Okay. How to take? Well, this is a real killer knight. King gonna come all the way over here? He could afford that. This is a very bad bishop, and white is in a giant pickle. Oh, there's no good way out. If ever king here to get out of it, there's a fork. This king has all the time to come all the way over here. We're gonna have a super king walk. Oh, we might have that. Okay, no. The rook is gonna be able to do something good here. Oh. I guess I was right. The rook is going to be able to do something good here. Namely a skewer. Rook h1 wins it. Okay. 41 with fire. 39, 39. Yeah, that was a bad bishop. Not the kind of day the bishop was hoping for. All right. 120. An hour 20, that is. Macro. Next opponent. Number 5 macro. There's your top 10. We're going to get a move. Yes. Best by test. Sicilian on board now. C3 Sicilian. Take notes. d5 to be expected, challenging the furthest advanced pawn. Watch out. There's knight takes and a recapture. That was not a mouse slip. That was an on purpose. Bishop wants to recapture the pawn. Nice diagonals here for the bishops. What kind of attack is nearby? Let us see. Okay, lining something juicy up with a d5. Some prep work first. Here and then takes and then here. No, it's shut down. Watch out for a fork. It's still in there. Yeah, it doesn't have the right order. Now this is possibly a threat. Okay, this rook is hanging in some variations. Oh, the rook is unprotected. There is a check. Centralized queen. Here we go. Taking with the bishop and then taking with the pawn. Where to go with this rook? Okay. Wow. If this isn't a focal point, I don't know what is. e4. Seriously under fire. Seriously under fire. Mass exchanges on e4. And in the end, this pawn's going to run like crazy. He'll be there in time to stop it, though. I don't know who's better. I think black is better. No, white is better because of this pivot square. It's going to pick up a lot of pawns. What order? What way to do it? Pick up this guy first. You don't want to deal with that. Maybe you do. I don't know. I would have grabbed that guy. Here and then here? Do you have time for that? Oh my god, get back here soon. Hurry. Because you have to get over here. This guy's fast. Okay, he's up a lot of time. White is the better side now. Was that a slip? Probably want to go king here. It's a weird approach. This guy's really fast. Okay, he's pushing through. White is pushing through. Wow, they're so fast. There's a queen. The check. 2.4. Okay, he's down on the clock. Just stare at the clock for those games. Don't even look at the pieces. Just stare at the clock. 45, 43, 40. An hour 17 left. GSVC. Next opponent. I am just under the 2,900 mark. Carlsen. In first. But not a runaway. Not even close to being some runaway. E4, E5 on board. Okay. Bishop is maintained. Gonna have a knight reposition. Yes, we are. G6. C pawn's ready to play. Something like that nearby. If this, then this is a bit of an annoying move, possibly. Bishop E6 first. Maybe even that next. Maybe this and then that. Anyhow. Who cares about these pawn advances I keep pointing out? There's going to be play on the king side. Not easily kicked because of this pressure on this square. Step the king up. Watch over this square. Yeah. One of these squares. Bishops are gone. F5 is now in space for Team White. Pawn up. There's a new check available. Or you could go like this. Black is the better side here. These pawns can be real killers. Or you could just sit and build up. Gonna have some kind of build up or a tactic nearby. Rook takes pawn is probably there. Really close to being there. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a rook takes pawn right away. There's something really juicy happening on G2. Okay. This is another way to do it. Yeah, we'll have a resigner. He was in pre-move on that last one, but it should have been just a lost position anyhow. And with that, we have 49 with fire up 6. Manchester United Pro 6 back. Not in the game yet. An hour 16 to go. Ali Reza certainly has gained some rating points. Started at about 2,400 at this tournament. Baggins. Baggins is what we'll say. Is the opponent. Number 3 guy. From where? We don't know. Okay. This is White's square. You haven't noticed. There's a lot of pieces on that. Okay. Just going to work around that knight. Can't remove him so easily, so he's just going to tuck the king away. No diagonal checks, no knight checks. Trying to remove this master defender. Okay. And what next? In the think tank, bishop is under fire. It insert a check if the king takes. Okay, some small improvement. Oh, it's more than a small improvement. The bishop is trapped. Oh, you could do this. You could do this and then take the knight. So you don't have to deal with that. Yeah. Just winning the bishop. Bishop got caught. H6. That was a pretty fast one. 53 with fire. That's kind of significant. 9 points. 9 points. 53 first, 38 10th. And let's see who we get next. Manchester United Pro, the winner of the last Titled Arena. Okay, we're getting a bit of a delay here with this next game. Just like at the start of the tournament. Getting a network error. Bit of a delay here. Carlsen is in pause mode. Ooh. Ooh. Uh-oh. Is he back in a van? Is he back in a van or something? Is he playing on mobile or no? He might have had a connection issue, it appears. He didn't move. Black won that game. Okay. A non-mover. Giving plenty of other players a chance to catch up now. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, no fire. Still in first. About 5-6 points. I didn't catch it. Back on the horse. What to say about this one here? Some space maybe for black one day. Doesn't want to play with b5. Piece on c5 is very good. d6 is under fire. 2 knights on these squares are nice. This guy does a good job shielding against the pressure against d6. f4 on board. Okay, how's this going to pan out? Nobody knows. I don't know. Oh, is this bishop going to get caught? He might get caught. Oh man, yeah, he was maybe going to get caught. Oh, fancy. Takes, there's a fork. Oh, in-betweener? In-betweener again, and after pawn takes, there's this. That was a nice sequence. Rook defends, not the queen. Okay. Yeah, that was a good move, because the knight would have been lost if he immediately recaptured on e5. So where do we stand material-wise? Man, that happened really fast. Black is up a pawn. After all that, that's all I could say. Black is up a pawn. Now he's not. This is a lone defender of the king. Help! Queen on f2. Rook here. Take a knight and then rook here. It's very airy. Yeah, the rook has to come back to defend. Down on the clock as well. Super active rook. Black is clearly the better side. No great way to get at the king. Still push. No, it's just going to defend. Didn't want to allow queen h4. Queen takes. You could take here. Take the pawn. Now it's not so clear. Now it is definitely not so clear. Maybe perpetuals. Perpetual in the air. Black wants more. Definitely wants more. Takes with the queen. A queen exchange, I think, is good for white. Oh, it is good for white. This is winning for white. These are just one pawns. Don't be misled. Don't be misled. Yep, white's going to be able to pull it off. 2 seconds. 2.1 seconds. My God. Okay, with that, 55, 47, 46. When are we going to get this pairing? He's not in a game yet. This is page 1. This is page 2. That's all you're seeing. Okay, back in the arena. Astana chess. Sticking with the Caro-Kann. Okay. Pressure on f7. Oh my goodness. So fast and so much fun. So what's the trick here? Oh boy. Something juicy. Nearby. A pawn sack. Or 2. How greedy does black want to be? This is maybe justified greed. This bishop is probably going to struggle, yeah? g4. Oh my god, g4. Okay, now the pawn takes because this guy's going to be an animal. He needs to be dislodged. This is a very good square. I like black's position. Black is the better side here. Find a tactic here, Astana. And you should be able to win, I think. Too strong, maybe. Black has to be the better side. Very good pieces. This knight on f4. I liked queen g5 there. Queen takes h2. Who cares about the exchange? This queen, knight, and bishop should be able to stir up something really good. Doesn't want to go to f4. White wants a queen exchange. Kind of even on the clock. Black's going in reverse. There's a clear plan here for white. If he could secure the key squares around his king, this pawn continues to march. It has gotten a bit away from Team Black here. Queen is backed up. Now this queen is super active, going to be winning some material. No good way to defend both pieces. Up on the clock and simplification nearby. There's a mate threat. Queens are off though. That was hitting with check. Up a full rook, Team White, and yeah, up 5 points and 5 seconds, call it. And here go all the pawns. Yep. There goes the knight down on time. Oh, definitely had something there. I just know there had to be something there, but definitely not easy to spot it in these fast games. 1 hour and 8 minutes to go. Penguin. Oh my goodness, what happened to Penguin? This should never happen. 31. 31st place. Maybe an internet connection. That's if I see 31 next to Penguin, I think there's a internet connection issue. Okay. Anyhow. A very good square. White is good here. I like Team White. More secure black king. Better knight for white. Something like this might be nearby. Knight g5? Knight g5, h4. f6. Okay, challenging the knight. So now that this f-pawn is advanced, now the knight issue, the knight imbalance, let's say, is not there. It's more of a king position. Black ideally would like to keep the queens on. Black is the better side. Up a pawn, and yeah. How to convert this? Just defend the base points first. I think you want to keep both majors on. Tuck the king in, maintain this structure. The king is shielded. No back rank checks with the king on h7. Pressure on f6 and c4. You could take the pawn, you're still defending everything, and now you could offer a queen exchange being up 2 pawns. And start racing the pawns. And just keep going with the pawns. Rook gets active. Okay, there's this square. You don't want to let the queen get here, but that's a long way off. These pawns continue to march. The queen is trying to get down here. There is a pin. No, there wasn't a pin. I don't know what I'm talking about. Again. Okay, now the rooks are off, and this pawn, no, is threatening mate. Threatening mate there. Queen ideally placed up with the pawn. Defend. What? Why was that move played? Okay, I mean, you're defending against this, but I thought this, defend here, and then you push. Okay, either way is good. I just thought that would be played instinctually. Anyhow, Master Amy. 61-54. Terry R2 is in second. 7 back. Master Amy. WFM 27th. Haven't seen this player before. Okay. Let's see what Carlsen has to do to win. Defend f7, hit the bishop. For starters, queen trapped. Feels like she's maybe close to trapped. Kick her around a little bit more. Queen, bishop f6. Offer of a queen exchange. Bishop is hit. Defended. Do in-betweeners. Could be fancy. There, it's going with the fancy stuff. Queen d4. Nope. Queens are gone. Rook is really active now. This pawn falls, this pawn is going to be really excited not to get to h1. That'd be illegal. Okay, he's got her. Some trading. Pushing through. Up the exchange. And how do you stop this? Find a safe square for the king. No great mates. Wow. Centralized king. Yeah, he's cool. There's no stopping that guy. Pick up a pawn. On your way. Up on the clock. Yeah, jump in here, jump in there. Or just put a rook here. This knight controls the bishop. There's no good checks against the king. 10 seconds left. Just take the knight, give a check. If I could draw an arrow, one day. One day. Oh, Pinaroni. There's no rook takes rook. And we'll have a resigner soon, I imagine. Mate next. Playing on to the very end. No stalemates. Checkmate. Queen c1 does it. Okay, and with that, 65 with fire, 58, 51, Ali Reza. Those are the top three. They're playing for 625, 250, 125, 75, 50. Top 5 places are in the money. Opper, next opponent, 1 versus 5. Let us see. Roy Lopez. No, not quite. No. It wasn't bishop b5. Bishop c4. Bishop's opening. Okay. Yeah, probably a bit of a move order issue. Shouldn't have allowed that bishop to be hunted down. I don't think. But you could certainly run with it. The knight was under fire. He will find good squares. This is a sensitive point, but secure by a couple minors. A super invasive knight. Gets out of a pin. He had an opportunity to take that pawn. Instead doubled. Huh. White, I think, is the better side. Tough to say. If he can maintain this knight. You want to keep a rook on. You don't want to go to just a superior minor. You don't want to give that to black. Superior minor piece. This is a really strong piece. You like to ensure that there's never this possibility. So if you could kind of, do something like that where there's not a d4 push, d5 push. This is clearly better for Team White, playing with the knight. And a huge wall is created here. There isn't a great way to attack the knight. How to make progress, though, even on the clock. Oh, yeah, if you take, there's going to end up being 2 passers. Yeah. Well, hang on. Could this happen soon? Not if the knight is there. White is still the better side. Up a pawn. I'm just peeking real quick to see if I'm still live. Yeah, I'm live. Okay. And check here, a knight here, and they all fall. One by one. This guy's next. Down on the clock. Just march with the pawn. March with the pawns. Oh, that's a good way to do it. A resigner? Yes, a resigner, just before the clock fell. 69, 62, 55, 49. Up 7 with fire, an hour and 1 to go. Top 10, 286 are registered. We'll see. And the next person, Astra Mari. Number 11. Okay. Dutch. Any Dutch defense fans? Let's see what the approach is here. So no fight. Just allowing black to acquire this pawn duo that is turned into a trio. F4 is maybe nearby. This is secure. This knight will not be secure soon. He's ready to be kicked now that the knight has moved. So a pair of knights are off. And that's it. F4 now? Prepping for F4? Or something else? Maybe this. Maybe just leaves these guys sitting. No, some play on the queen side. An open c-file to work with. Square available for the knight. Taken away immediately. White has pocketed a pawn. Pocketed a pawn. White is going into Pac-Man mode. Oh my goodness. It's taking everything. And this queen is hungry. And should not be too hungry. Queen takes f4, and then there's this. But the knight will gladly take there because it does hit with check. This is a big problem for Team Black. If you didn't realize, there's a lot of pieces here pointing at the king. Hang on, though. It's going to get technical. Maybe white is still the better side here. Two minors are very good. You gotta save the rook. This is the only sensitive point for Team White. Yes. Oh, miscalculation. King up hits the rook. Now, who knows? This is a coin flip. Get your coin out. Pick your favorite coin. Pick your favorite coin. I was just, for some reason, recalling No Country for Old Men. Get that title right? What's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss? Oh, somebody's going to lose their king in this one. Okay, yeah, and they all fall. And white knows it. Okay, that got away from Team White, to be sure. That queen was Pac-Man mode. 73 with fire, 62-55, less than an hour to go. Rebecca Harris, and we haven't seen Jagalko. Okay, who cares? Yes, we have seen it. While I'm saying Rebecca Harris and Carlsen haven't played, we missed the first 7 moves. Shut up and get to the game, man. Okay, what did we have as the opening here? Something simple. Bishop out. White is the better side, gearing up for this. This is a problem. Yes, this is a big problem for black. Rook's hit. The center is collapsing with this killer bishop. They're not competing for the same diagonal. They're trying... Oh, well, that is a fancy move right there. But is it any good? The rook is still hanging. That bishop move with this advance was a serious problem. How to maybe complicate. Okay, he has managed... Well, still a big problem because he cannot castle. Different story if he was somehow able to castle. Now he's got to bend over backwards here. If the knight could get here, there's maybe something good. He's going to shoot for that square. No, he wants something better. Deep in enemy territory. Knight on d3. Not an easy piece to work around. He's going to switch focus to this square and at the same time get hit with a fork. So the material, where do we stand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Black is up a pawn, just like that. Look at how easy. It's far from easy. What are you talking about? B3, C3. Space Invaders? Oh, support it with the bishop. Not so fast. Creeping up, getting off of any 7th rank checks. Oh, where? Well, you made me eat my words. Getting out of any 7th rank checks. Carlsen plays King H7. You don't know what you're talking about. Watch out for a pin. Oh, hang on. Chop, chop. Yes. And down on the clock, Rook wants to play over here. Who's in trouble? Whose king is in trouble? Okay. Bishop there. Rook takes. Bishop here. Bishop here. No, he's secure. Way down on the clock, too. Wow. Rebecca Harris. 5-6. That was the rubber match under these two accounts. Okay, don't ever go away from DrDrunkenstein. Terry R2. 3rd game. Maybe the most frequent opponent? Let's see what Terry has. 2905, 2817. Okay. Slow start. Playing for e5. Maybe hunt the bishop one day once there's no pin. No pin. Maybe ready to move the knight. Here we go. f4. I'm going to be careful about this too fast because the knight would be unprotected. So secures the knight first. Take the bishop or even jumping into here is nice. Just going to take the bishop. This is an issue. It's defended. Looking at the d6 square, white has some squares to work with. f5. Weakest square in black's camp. Worst piece for black is the bishop. Dark square bishop. Could do something better. Bishop e6. Tough position to assess. Positional battle. Maybe looking for h4 one day. Maybe g4 and queen here, and then h5. Or just h4 right away. That's a bit... Okay, maybe that... I was thinking possibly a mouse slip. I'll have to be careful. Takes, and there's these queen moves. Yeah, well aware of that. So, no queen g6. Can you coordinate with this pawn, is the question. This is a problem. If you can't get this pawn, and it doesn't seem like you're getting that pawn soon. 22-20, called 20-20. Is pawn gonna fall? Fortunately, there's no way to get the bishop here right away. Gonna try to activate it like this, or like that. It's the last piece that needs to contribute. This pawn gonna fall now. This guy gonna fall. Watch out for the back ranks. Queen takes pawn, check, and in the end you get the rook? No, but in the end you drop this. They're going for that sequence. This one's gonna fall with check. We had that sequence. 5-second edge for Team Black. Oh, I don't know who's better here. Yeah, I do. Yeah, white is better here. I was thinking after he got this, he was gonna be up a pawn. Go for this guy. 9.4-4. Yeah, you'll be able to pre-move this one now. Pretty much. This one's a goner. He tried to be sneaky there. Oh boy. Okay, he's down. Where does that put him? Ooh, back-to-back losses. And he's in... He went to the bathroom, maybe. That's the bathroom icon. Okay, so... Maybe we'll just take a moment to see a couple pages. I don't know if I want to jump away here. That's not some rage quit. Okay. Yeah, he's still in bathroom mode. 73, 64, 64. Let me catch my breath here. 73, 64, 60, 59. We haven't seen this pairing yet. Jagalko versus DrDrunkenstein. Still a lot of time left, 52 minutes, and he is back. And straight from the bathroom to Baba Ramdev. Oh, man. Who else is saying that right now? Nobody. Just you. Just you. Okay, something simple. No advantage here for white. No advantage for black. Just some playable position. Maybe something going on h7. Easily defended though. h6. Super defender on f6. I like black in these positions. Light square bishop exchange. Preserve it. White's trying to hang on to the one positive, the better bishop. Black, on the other hand, has a very nice center. c5, d5 structure. And we're going to have some play. White says, you want to play with h6? I'm going to use that to my advantage. Take out the knight. Otherwise, he would be too strong on g5. Queen h5. This is a tall pawn, and clearly this might be a resigner. Black might throw in the towel here. There's no good defense to takes here, and then this kind of stuff. He knows that he's playing without a bishop at this stage. He's also way down on the clock. No, he continues to play. Here, knight g5, queen h6. No, very nice. Doesn't want to allow the bishop to defend. Sneaky. Sneaky. Don't allow the bishop to get down that diagonal. I spoke too soon. Offering a queen exchange. Queen's off, and then there is no attack. Very, very nice defense right there. I love that. Totally overlooked this bishop coming back to defend h7. That was very nice. That wasn't just some greedy pawn grab. Preparing to defend. Okay, I think white is better here. Slightly more active rook. That king up soon, no? Don't want this pawn to fall. Oh, he's tying the pieces down. This guy falls, these guys are going to be very weak. Oh, sneaky move. It's a coin flip. Look at the clock times. Was that a mouse slip? I think that was a mouse slip. Check. King up here. No, 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 no. Flush the king back. Watch out for the mates. It's not mate. A check and then here. Okay. Speed. It's coming down to speed. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Where are the time burners? Get the time burners in. Oh, that's not the best spot to go with the king. Check. Oh, he has a lot of time, actually. 2.7. Okay, he's going to get that one, but wow. Wonderful defense. That bishop grab. Okay, don't at least see the start of this game now. Rebecca Harris on board. E4, G6. That's all I have to say about this game. E4, G6. H3. Okay. Well, maybe a knight arrives on D5 one day. Some dark squares to work with. If there's some competition on the D file, white is likely to win it with the bishop on B6. So doubling up first. And hope for this square. Queen's off. White is definitely the better side. Better bishop is what sticks out to me. So what do? Oh, you ruin the structure and you allow this. Yeah, it's tough. One way or the other. Very difficult position. Maintain the knight. It's going to get some activity. Oh, this is a problem. Save the knight. Save your structure. Well, that was a little scary, right? Oh my goodness. Serious blunder. Takes and then takes, taking advantage of the pin. White has just lost a minor piece. Fortunately, still has a good structure. Can maybe do something here. Not how he drew it up. Maybe he wants to get the rook off. Oh my god, he just got mated. Oh, that must be really painful. He might be raging. These seconds right now, he's not moving. He is raging right now. Oh, he's raging. And now he's getting hit with the H-pawn attack. Uh-oh. He's got to be a little on tilt because that was such a superior position. Oh. Oh, man. That's a tough one to stomach. Oh, man. Oh. Okay, anyhow. Another tough opponent. This one isn't going so well either. It's queen having a tough time. Where's the mate? Is there a mate close by? If the bishop moves back here, there is a mate threat on F2. Oh, some games are super painful, and that was one of them. Ooh, okay, here you could take like this. Move bishop. Can't rely upon the queen. Although here the queen is trapped. What's that about? Oh, getting the queen back. Interference move. Throw a knight on this square. Is it working? Maybe. Yes, it is. It's working. Watch out for the interference moves. White is up the exchange, but where do we stand with the pawns? Time to count. Don't take here. You end up in a pin. That wasn't a mouse slip. Okay, black is better here. Black is better? How fast is this pawn? Pretty fast. Controlling this square as well. Secures the bishop. If I could draw. Can you take that pawn? The king's going to be there to defend this against this guy. Bishop here. This knight's going to be... Can the knight get here? No, he's just going to take it back. This is rough. How fast is this pawn? He's going to be fast. Oh, man. 6 seconds, too. Oh, sneaky. A sneaky move. You can afford to do the sneaky moves. Okay, this might be a weird win. A weird win. It might be a weird win. It might be a weird win. Oh, no. One player could still win this. Just believe me. You could still win. Somebody's going to win this. Mates are still possible. Down on time. Oh, back-to-back losses. 75-70, 66-66. 45 minutes to go. Opper right on his heels. Top 3, top 5 don't have fire. Uh-oh. Rebecca Harris is ready to pull off the hat trick. 3 in a row? Let us see. Pressure on D4. Gotta release it. Take out one of the key attackers. Okay, bishop pair is preserved. Team black. Space for white. Okay, he's really looking to get him back here, I imagine. No castling. Cost a pawn. Castling by hand. Okay, this should be better for white. More secure king. More secure king. Should be telling. Let's see how to make progress here. First, control some light squares. This is a tough guy. Threatening to trap it. Now the bishop's cut off. Super pawns. This will be a tough one too. Stomach, if you lose this one because of these guys, clearly better. And you could pick up the exchange. Does he want that? That's what he's weighing right now. Is it better to go for that or just secure this knight post? Tough to get at the king now, isn't it? If this pawn falls, this guy's going to fall pretty easily. Black is fighting back. Certainly has some activity. Wants a bishop off. We'll be able to manage that, I believe. Unless you go back, yeah. Pressure on G2. Queen here is threatened. Winning the bishop. And hang on, hang on, hang on. This is a backbreaker. Gonna have a resigner. There's no good checks. A rook takes, and yeah, we're gonna have mate. Oh, he's just doing something fancy. Mate on the spot. Maybe hoping for some weird pre-move. Okay, he got him back. He will not be hat-tricked. 77-70, 68-68. 43 minutes to go. Not in a game yet. What did I say, 43 minutes? Yeah, 43 minutes to go. Not in a pairing. That's your top 10. Penguin is finally in the top 10. Ooh. Has lost 3 in a row, but he is in the top 10. Better than 31st. Which is where he was not too long ago. Okay, oh. That was a mouse slip. Had to be. This isn't compensation. If you're sacrificing a pawn in order to get your king on e6 with the queen still on board, you need to get your head checked. Okay. No mate. It's close. I guess he's going to camp out over here, although you have to watch out for a pin. King here, queen takes pawn. That's why he's going here. But that pawn falls, not with check. Really wants the queens off. Wants the king... I can't draw an arrow. Wants the king on b7. He's down a couple pawns, one on each wing. Super queen in the center. Oh, got one pawn back. These knights are offsetting. Queen not gonna be trapped, yeah. Just a little punch. This is a really good bishop. Keying in on a couple squares near the king and providing some wonderful security for the white king. Good attacker and defender. Good queen in the center. Watch out. Might be some mate. Some defense here. He's going to go for a walk. Look at the time. Oh my god, the time. Don't get too crazy. Go back. It's too scary over here. He just wants the queens off with an eye on the clock. And, well, no, more than that. The king is going to probably get one of these guys. Yeah. Oh, he's getting that guy. Here and then push. Just burn the clock. 2 seconds to 22. Yeah, it might even be... Oh, hang on, hang on. Okay, he's down. Triple zeros, quad zeros, 79, 72, 70. 40 minutes to go. Up 7 only. Penguin is in 6th. Polpanjay? IM? Haven't seen this account before. Maybe just created today or who knows when. 40 minutes to go. Grunfeld? Nice space in the center. Queen knight on d7. Preparing to add some defense on f6. Maybe exert pressure on e4. Nice centralization for white. What kind of pawn break will we have? Okay, d5 within this. Black has enough defense for that. Oh, allowing this pawn to live. You want to keep the queens on. Has hopes for knight f5 and queen here. Knight has something to say about that. Rook up and over? Possibly. There could be some sacks. Saccaroni, maybe a capture here and then a check. A check first. If the knight wasn't there, there could be some fork in the end. Oh, there is a fork on c6. So tricky. He's scooping up that pawn. Wants a queen exchange now. Being up the exchange. Queen exchange, grab this pawn. Grabs this pawn. Super queen. Hitting everything. Knight's ready to be dislodged. Bishop exchange, take here first. Shatter the structure. No good bishop move. Bishop's under fire. This is hit with check. He knows it. It's going down 36 to 13. Wow. 83 with fire. 73, 72, 70. Under 40. Astana chess. 5th place. Having a wonderful tournament. 27-22 performance. Okay. Penguin. 61. Is in 9th place. Okay. Next game, Dr. Against who? Pechkin? Okay. He's gone for this setup before. I believe that was against Baba Ramdev. A little pawn triangle, bishop outside the pawn chain, and seems to always go with this. A little space. Black likes this idea as well. Some space on the king side. A little grip against this court grip. E4, H4 against white's kingside court grip. Court grip. I don't know how clear that's coming through. Queen takes pawn. Take out the knight now. Super active queen. I think this rook is simply out of play. There isn't an attack here. Maybe there was. He was sensing some problems with rook f6, so... Oh! Was that really an on purpose? Yeah. King up. This is better for white because the white king is playing in this endgame and black's king is not. Yeah, one rook off. And in the end, you still remain with an active rook. Yeah, mopping up some pawns now, and you don't even take this pawn. Just let it sit and provide some security to your king. Keep it technical. No activity allowed, he says, and now he'll scoop up this guy. These are the only active files. Meanwhile, these guys just push. Okay, he's going to get one square. He probably didn't want to allow this. He may be able to just sack here very soon. He's one move away from doing that. It'll still be fine. He could find safe ground over here. Safe ground over here. And here we go. Yeah, he's prepared to just sack now and push through with the pawns. That's the simple way to do it. You don't have to deal with all these silly checks. Okay, black throws in the towel. Those pawns will push through. 87 with fire. That's looking pretty significant now. 14-point edge. I think this is the last we will be seeing of Carlsen before his World Chess Championship match, which is nearby. I will be streaming that. Next opponent. FM. It's just under 2,900. Let us see. Okay, better bishop is what sticks out to me. This looks like, did it start out as a Catalan? I don't know. I blinked. That's my excuse. I blinked. If I don't know something, it's because I blinked. I missed it. Okay, knight's going to be pretty good on the c4 square. Yeah. It's a bit annoying. White does have the bishop pair. Has to give it back. Both were hanging. And keep the bishop. Okay, so now you could do this without fear of something tricky against the knight. The rook is on the b file. Defend everything, get rid of the knight. Careful now. King here, there's a fork. Keep the king and the rook on opposite colors. No forks. Okay. Improve the king now? Not quite. Knight defends b3. Okay, knight move, there's this. Start pushing? Improve the king first. He's in a... careful, don't push or take because of a fork. 22 to 25, slight edge on the clock. Oh, that's nice. Rook takes, you could take here. So fast. Okay, just push through. He wants to get behind. Probably should have went behind first, no? Either way. No, the rook is fine. King up, pawn push. No great way to disrupt this. Yeah. This one's a long way off. King and rook are there just in time. And up 10 seconds, call it. Gonna get a W? Yeah, black just resigned. Okay, so another W for Carlsen. That's 5 wins in a row, 91 with fire, 16 points ahead of second. Significant. Okay. Next opponent, I am 18th place. Another French. Oh my goodness. The Dutch is what I meant. Giving up this square. That's what you often do with the Dutch. Well, Stonewall Dutch. Competing squares. This is a tall pawn. Playing on the G file. Okay, more active rooks for black. Better position for black with this connected passed pawn. Queen check you could defend with the bishop or the queen. Queen here hitting the pawn. That is defended. Watch out for the fork. Rook f2? Maybe? Still in a pin. What to do? He's in the tank. Can't go here too soon, though, actually. He would drop the rook. Yeah. Could take now. Go here. Hang on to the pawn. Bishop here next. Offer queen exchange. Oh, it's not just that. He wants to get this guy rolling. Yeah, this is painful. Rook up. Stop bishop here, and might have a resigner. He knows what's coming. Not much to do. Rook has to crawl up into a ball. Not fun. Fiend-kettled rook. Okay, he resigned. 95 with fire. 77, 74. Are we going to get that pairing? Let's see. Opper? No, the slippery one. Going with the French. French defense, Penguin on board. They had a draw and Carlsen won, yeah. Okay. That's probably a poison pawn. Opposite sides castling. White would love to have an open G file to work with. Okay, I think white is hitting faster. Is there going to be some accident here? I think there's going to be an accident really soon on this square. You might even be able to sacrifice 2 minors. He's crunching the numbers. He doesn't want it. He's going to save the knight, hit the queen, and then go with h5. And maybe now take here and then take here? No, not quite, because there's an exchange. The knight and the queen do well. Chasing the queen away? Oh, she's having a tough time. She's short on squares. If you could somehow get a rook here, maybe she's a goner. Pushing through. Pushing through. There's a check. There's a push here, or just pile up. He's going to go for it. He's going for it. With bishop here in the end. Queen g5. No, he's securing c4 first. How to activate the queen. There should be a way. This bishop is very good. Oh, this is really nice square. Bishop on e5. Allowing some counterplay, actually. Because takes here, then there's this kind of stuff, and you have to watch out for your own king. Now, I think white is going to have some fun. King could slip away like this. The rook is ready to shield against checks with rook g4. Some nice defense. The king wants to make sure he gets over here. Bishop here. And he has this square covered. He could afford this kind of stuff. The queen wants to pick up a pawn and then go here with check. 23 seconds left for black. Huge time advantage. Good coordination. Oh my god. 5 seconds. Just has to sidestep a mate. Tough to do. Rook here. Oh, there goes the queen. Wow. Oof. That was a sharp game. Okay, first time playing again. This is... Oh, I'm really interested to see how this one goes. 30 minutes left. Sergey Zhigalko. 2,600 plus. FIDE. Just under 2,900. Bullet. Okay. Is black going to get this pawn back? Oh, he's able to take advantage of the pin for starters. Okay. Maintain the bishop? No. White square bishops are gone. Knight is very good here. Can't develop the bishop so easily. To take that first. Okay. Space for white. I like white's position. Probably should have went in a different way, no? Unless he's still going to play this and then target this point. This could be a nice pivot square. Maintains the knight. Isn't easily... You can't get this majority going. Yeah, he's going to make a lot of simple moves. This pawn is very good. Queen on this square. Now you have to take the knight. There is a fork. White is the better side here. Is there time for this? Not really. This is a really nice pawn. White has the better queen. And points to attack. Okay, he's finally getting in this e5 move, breaking up the center, and now the structure has changed. I'm not sure. Time to reassess. I think black is now the better side. White is going to come under some fire. The queen is maybe out of play. 22 called 20 seconds apiece. Queen takes pawn is there. Got it. Pinaroni. No good. Okay, that's fancy. Oh, that's really fancy. Oh, that's really fancy. Yes! Rook takes, you take here with check. Oh, that's a super fancy move. Backbreaker. Oh, queen f3. Oh, in the end, you take the queen. Getting out of the pin. Oh, that's a star move. Star move of the tournament so far. Queen f3. Wow. I thought we were on the queen side, and then it shifted quickly over to the king side as soon as e4 was in. Who knew e4 could be that powerful? Okay, e4 for black. What do we have? An exchange King's Indian defense? Okay. What to do here? I like white's position. Because of what? Well, I see this nearby, some kind of push, and then if you could somehow get a knight here. Can you maintain this point? It's coming under fire. Okay, the pressure is released, but black will probably play for the A file. I don't know how invasive the rook can be along the A file, but there is some space, and because of this space, the bishop suffers some. Transitioning over to the king side, a more secure home for the king. Now that this is in, probably want to keep the queens on. Oh, and that's... yeah. There is no counterpunch with this. Takes, yeah. This is defended. You could also scoop that up. Okay, he's winning the bishop. In short, black knows it. Throws in the towel. 99 with fire. 84. Terry R2. I have not seen... Okay, this is their fourth encounter. Whoa. Terry R2 has won... 2 out of 3 games against the doctor. Huh. Okay. Let's see what we get. Solved the issue of the bad bishop. For starters. Some space here. Okay, and shuts it down. Control over the A file. Yes. Want some more exchanges? Yes, even though it's a good versus bad bishop, this is a very active bad bishop. And without this guy around, maybe you could look forward to e5. That's why white held ground was okay with doubled f pawns. Would increase the control over the e5 square. Looking to reposition this knight to a wonderful square. Repositioning for both knights at this stage. Wants to keep the rooks on. This is the more active rook. Don't exchange it for the passive rook. White insists. Okay, he's going to compromise the structure a little bit. This could be a timely pawn advance to pry open the kingside structure. Queen. No, I was going to say queenless position for starters. Not quite. Let's put it back on here. This is the best square for right now. Careful. Oh, he's getting active. He's probably going to do this and then just go here. Got to go for it. Right? Oh, he's going for this stuff first. Oh, that's very sneaky. Very, very sneaky. Really nice rook. Oh, he's not going with that. Oh, because the queen was here to stop this. Nice square for the rook. Now black wants this move with queen here. Push. And now f4 is under fire. The queen would love to be the one to take here. And okay, takes here and then takes here with check. Yeah, okay, this has gone. This one's gone. For Team White, I believe. Yeah. Up a couple pawns. Yeah. And they're going to march. The rook's going to get right behind. Simple to play. Oh, he's being sneaky. He knew he had to try something like that. He's way down on the clock as well. Okay. 103 with fire. 19 ahead. It's looking pretty good for first place. Okay, Ali Reza, next opponent. Another Caro-Kann, don't play here. Get mated. Offering a queen exchange, yay or nay? Nay. He insists. I force. Oh, a mouse slipper. He wanted bishop g5. So a quick win. 107 with fire. Okay. It's most likely just a battle for these yeah, second through fifth. 107, that's significant. Yeah, that's significant. 23. I'm forgetting what the top 5 places in previous titled arenas usually come away with point-wise. Anyhow, Wild King 91. Not familiar with this account. It's pretty new. Gonna win some material over here, some kind of pawn push nearby. I can't back up with the bishop. c4 would fall. Okay, this knight's out of play. What's that about? He missed that the knight was there. Yeah. Did I miss something there? I think I missed something there. Anyhow, we're at even material. Oh, I think he took something that was on that square. He didn't just move to that square. Okay, there's a square to work with on d6. Keep the bishop, yes. If the knight budges, there might be this. This would be super committal. Securing the pawn first. You might do this just to activate the rook. This is a passer. Where are the tactics? Yeah, queen here, hitting the rook and the pawn. g6 opens up this bishop's eyes. Oh, and the bishop is also hanging. The queen has to come back to defend. There's also a pin. There's no good knight move with check. Otherwise, the queen would fall. His pawn is still passed, and he's basically connected. Push, you could go here. Here, queen b5. Oh, picks up a pawn first. Activate the rook. Gonna take this guy out. Oh, that is so slick. Look at the geometry. Everybody loves geometry. Okay, this queen's gonna pick off something. Can black coordinate? Okay, he is coordinated. That wasn't that difficult. 5 seconds. Oh, he's got to find a new square. Oh, this is a fortress. I believe this is a fortress. I see this one as a draw. It's pretty easy to make moves for black, isn't it? Who knows? Who knows how this one ends? Okay, a check. Are there going to be some checks? Oh, it's not quite working. Oh, it is working. It isn't working. It is working. Some checks. Oh my goodness, 0.02. He got it. Wow. The Wild King goes down barely. 20 minutes to go. 111. Oh man. What a finish. Okay, Terry R2. His favorite opponent. Number 1 versus number 2. Is Terry gonna... Yeah, it's still a huge fight for that second place. What is second place? 250. I think this one is already sealed with 20 minutes to go. Terry, are you there? Is Terry in the bathroom? Is Terry in pause? Terry had to use the bathroom. That happens. Okay, he's paused. He's unpaused. Anyhow, we're not in a game yet. 20 minutes on the nose. We are almost there. Catching. Is he the one that does this? He is. He loves these little knight maneuvers. I'm not sure why. I see this name, Catching. And yeah, I just think about these bishop 2 squares. Okay. It's weird. But yeah. Let's see. Black seems to be doing fine. Has the bishop pair. Okay. Up 10 seconds as well. Probably has to do with playing this wacky system so much. Familiar with the structures. More familiar than your opponents. Okay. Hunting the dark square bishop. Doesn't want the light square bishop. Okay. Oh, this should be pretty scary. There might be some wonderful mate nearby. Let's see. Yeah, that's a nice move. Bishop takes, knight takes with the fork, and the bishop will fall. Yeah, the bishop's falling. Only has a pawn as compensation. Is there some mate nearby? Defending here for a moment. Picking up a couple pawns. Pin. Rook takes knight with this. Is the threat. Okay, rescue the knight. Can the knight be rescued? You have to keep the rook on. No, that knight isn't trapped with that sequence. Okay, even on the clock. Up a knight. How to make it easy. Okay, king's gonna go hunting. 2 pawns gone in a blink. And now it's easy to pre-move. Okay. A resigner, not down on time, a resigner. 119. 31 points ahead. 294 in here. Next opponent will be who? Second through fifth will be who? A huge battle. Okay, Baba Ramdev, number 5. Going with this same system again against Baba Ramdev. With bishop b5. Yes, again. Yes, some play on the h-file. Don't forget about this idea that was put into practice last time they fought. That one's... I know, I still have that image in my mind, that little potential defense on h7. Okay, black going with a different approach now, securing an e5 advance. Queen takes, knight takes, bishop takes it is. In-betweener, no capturing on this square. Black should be the better side here. No great discovery by the knight. This will be a good square for the knight. And, okay. There goes that a-pawn again. Okay, gonna take the 2 rooks. Hits with check. No time to take the bishop at the end. He's going for it. We do have an inbounds. Probably something black is okay with. How to pinpoint unprotected stuff. Okay, it's nearby. Queen here hits the rook and threatens mate. Careful now. Everything is hanging. 19, 18, 17 seconds. 16, 15, 14. Okay. Oh, there's a fork. He's threatening mate first. He wants mate. He's insisting on mate. Oh, that's a nice sequence. I love that sequence. In the end, he's picking up a whole rook. Oh, man. Wow. That was really instructive. Hitting that heart from an angle, forcing f6, and then getting to the 7th, hitting it along a rank, and then hitting the rook, forks. That was a really nice sequence. Gotta look back on that one. That was super cool. Okay. Isolated pawn. Now what? Yes. This is a really good piece. He's a gunner. And maybe this, have to be careful. The rook is hanging. Rook is hanging. Careful now. There might be some tricks here. The queen is there defending. He just wants to secure his home. That's all he wants. The rook is there to defend. The rook is off. Pawn is off. Okay. Who knows how this endgame ends. I like black. Even though this is a passer, this is a super active rook. Improving the king. This is the way. You want to expose this pawn. H4, and yeah, you're going to win a pawn now. And these guys can fall really fast. Stay behind the pawn and get these guys rolling. Get the king rolling, yeah. Gotta go fast. I thought the rook was going to try for that, but I think black would have been faster. Yeah, queening in time and defending. Many tempi ahead, I believe. Okay. Easy from there. No big issue on the clock. He continues to win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row. 127 with fire. Lixner. Next opponent, FM in 17th place. It's a great tournament. Top 20, top 30. Oof. Okay, remaining minutes, 13 to go. I see somebody saying in the Twitch chat, this Carlsen guy seems to have world champion potential. If he works hard one day, who knows? Oh man, these are a lot of fun. Black's down a pawn. Lost that c-pawn. How significant was that c-pawn, you might ask? Pretty significant. That means the white pieces can now rely upon that d5 square. It's a cozy home. Black's still trying to undermine it. He's removed a key defender of that square. And now what? Black will have some play for the pieces, to be sure. Oh, or just win a piece. Was that knight really... Did he really have to go there? Anyhow, he's up a piece now. Get active with the rook, centralize the king. Smooth sailing from there. Take the rook, take the pawn. Black knows it. White knows it. Throws in the towel. Another win. Continues on this streak. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I had to count again because I forgot. He is at a 10-game winning streak. Wild King 91 next opponent. Yeah, oh, that was a wild game with Wild King. 0.02 seconds is how that one ended. Another Dutch. Okay. Not a Stonewall Dutch. This is a secure square on e5. No hole. Gonna reposition the knight. Where does he want to be? He wants to be on e4. And maybe straighten out the pawns, be an invasive knight. And here we go. Tucks the queen in. The knight's ready to jump on in there. To e4 it is. Says, take my knight. He's either a pest or you take him out and straighten out my pawns and my bishop is brought to life. Not easily kicked either because g3 would fall. Okay, how to activate the bishop. Bishop pair versus the knights. Black also has some space and this is a struggling piece. Queen here, target this pawn. The pawn's going to fall. The bishop is going to be a nightmare in this square. White knows it and takes him out. Things have changed. White has a square here to work with on f5. Some security for the black king. The queen maybe wants to be over here to safeguard the king. Is he okay with giving up a pawn here just to get activated? Maybe mop up one of these guys? These guys don't really care so much about taking those guys. The g-pawns, those guys. You can take here, no? This guy's unprotected on f7. It is a possibility. Okay, he does take the G pawn. Why not? Takes now. How active, how much of a pain is this guy going to be? Probably a pain. Go here. Get out of that pin. Don't allow this advance. So you take there, I take here. The queen is around to defend. A check, you just block. In the end, this is going to be a sore spot. If the queens were exchanged, difficult to defend. The rook would have to go all the way back here to defend the e-pawn. Super passive. Gonna grab some space. Maybe give a check one day. There is a check here. Ooh, it's a good thing the rook wasn't here. Sensing danger. Okay, we're going to have another time scramble. 4.8. This game flew by. We got to go back and defend. Oh, there's a queen on the board. How did that happen? How to pull this one off. Let's see how fast he is. We're going to have another draw? No, it's not looking good. Oh, boy. It's not looking good. His first loss? Yes. 0.28 now for the Wild King. 0.28 to be exact. Wow. Everything comes down to 0.2 with those two. 131. Finally. He slips up. 34-point edge. It is sealed. Okay, Terry R2. Terry R2. He's still trying to make a run for this second place position. It is a lock. First place. And he says, I don't want anything to do with the world champion. I've had enough, man. Uncle, let me go on to somebody else. I didn't have fire. Or no, maybe, I mean, he was trying to go for fire. Terry R2, what happened there? Okay, a quick resigner, Terry. Penguin. Penguin is in there at number 4. Penguin has fire, and this was what? Okay, he's getting hit with the Dutch. Penguin is looking for a 4 is what I meant to say. And second place with that 4. They have been here before. How did that one end? Oh, I could also look here. Yeah, Penguin had his foot on the gas big time. He was up maybe 15 seconds, 20 seconds maybe in their last encounter. Okay. A good square for Team White. It's happened in one of their games. I think it was the one that Carlsen won. F5 under fire. F5 under fire? Oh, it's taking with the bishop to defend. G6 or not. This knight is a real killer. A real killer. If this doesn't have your attention. Okay, this knight needs to have your attention. Knight takes pawn right now. He's winning some material. The rook is active, even on the clock. Have to get out of the pin with a check and then a bishop move to defend. Meanwhile, this pawn bolts. Can this pawn be stopped? Black is winning. The bishop is not there in time. You can't get out of the pin and stop the pawn at the same time. He knows it. He's going to try and stir up some trouble over here. A quick g4, g5. Okay, had to part ways with the piece. And you could throw in a couple checks. A check here and then take there. Okay, up 7 seconds. It doesn't look like Penguin's going to be getting this one. A check here. Oh my God. It's going to be mate. He won. A sneaky mate. Oh, Penguin. He got the 4 he wanted. Penguin is now... Oh, Opper has something to say about that. Opper has 99. Take-a. Wow. Oh, that one's a painful one. That's why we're not seeing him move. It's one of those raging seconds going on right now. Oh, is he in the bathroom? He might be in the bathroom or raging. Who knows? Nobody knows for sure. Sergei Zhigalko. That was a resigner. He pulled a Terry R2. Okay. Let's see. You know what? The last time he had that tough loss against Rebecca Harris, he went with G6. So is this his go-to opening when he's maybe running a little hot? Got a little fire in him. Oh, he mouse slipped. That's what happens when you're raging a little bit. Oh man, just having fun. Who really knows for sure, right? Oh, these in-betweeners. Is that knight really without a square? No, he just wants to get in h6 and say my bishop is an animal, pointing at... These arrows just aren't there for me today. Okay, some sacrifice maybe. Queen h3 is secure multiple times. Don't be surprised to see a sacrifice on this square. He's insisting on h2 and maybe f3, a fork one day if the knight's not around. Wow, this is super complicated. I'm not reacting to your threats. Okay, take out f7, and then here maybe with check, you take the knight, the queen's gonna be super invasive. Mate threat nearby. Oh, actually just mate on the spot, right? You can't take the knight because the bishop is there. What's the story with that move? He's insisting on getting here. He wants that h1 square. Bishop is there defending. What can the queen do? Go here and then here? The bishop is on f4. Look at the clock. Under 10 seconds for Team White. Pawn here? No, he's going to hit something. Hitting the rook. Wants to stay active. Okay, rook is going to look for some activity. And then it's taking here. Sensing he's really way down on the clock. Looking for some time burners. Where are the time burners? The king's going to move. Queen wants to go over here. He just wants the queen off. Oh, he's getting the rook. That was a bad decision. And it's the correct color bishop. Oh, the bishop should have been lost there. Okay, anyhow, 10 seconds in the tank. Zhigalko is down on time, 135, 101. It's between Penguin and Opper, I imagine, for that second spot. Caro-Kann, next opponent, I am, who is also streaming. Okay, let's see what we have here. Their fourth encounter. First one in this tournament. Let us see. Bishop g5, secure this guy. No, it's just allowing it because there would be a problem on f2 at the end. Okay, Z's going down though. This is going to be a serious pin. Okay, where's the knockout? Is there one that exists here? Take out the knight and then go here. White will be able to castle and defend. Just hitting the queen. Okay, gonna try to play against this. There isn't a great way to take advantage of this pin, I don't think. White has a square to work with on f5. Doesn't want to take and straighten out the pawns. Super invasive knight. Doesn't want it. Says, I could work around this guy. He's not gonna bother me. Counterpunch. This should be good for Team White. This knight is far more invasive than this guy. Check. Careful now. h6 is defended. e4 is threatened. e4 is hit. The knight is going to fall. Yes, the knight is going to fall. Or is it? Because there'd be a queen check. The king can step up. He's crunching the numbers. He doesn't want it. Doesn't want it. I was probably missing something. Okay, this knight's falling. He's down on the clock. Oh, a perpetual. Knight takes rook. There would. Oh, these arrows are wonderful. Wonderful arrows. Take and then take. Oh yeah, take here. Check. Watch out for skewers and stuff. Skewers and stuff. The queen is gone. Sneaky pawn. No, he didn't want to try the sneaky pawn. Okay, he resigned. This is probably the last one. Penguin, it seems, is going to come away with second place. Okay, Zhigalko, probably the final game of this tournament. It's been a runaway, I believe. We knew the result. The first place guy, we knew who that was going to be. For about 45 minutes. Okay, yeah, these two have some really interesting games. Not sure where Rebecca Harris was on the standings. Had some earlier games. Carlsen versus Naroditsky. Can this guy go? Have to watch out for the knight fork. There is a pin, so I was getting out of the pin. Queen in the corner, taking away a key flight square. One day, maybe, this guy can suffer. This guy's hit. Each side has a flight square. Both knights looking pretty good. Gonna get technical? Gonna maintain the tension. Take with the pawn or the rook? Probably the pawn. This guy turns out to be a bit of a liability. Okay, improve the king. No, secure this structure first. Don't want to allow this clamping down h4. Pretty equal. Oh, this knight on his square is going to be very strong. So, he's still going to be very strong. Okay, he has to try for this. That knight is really good on that f5 square. It hits at everything. Okay, so he's ruled out. Grab some space. Maybe this guy falls. The knights could be pretty good. Back-to-back pawns for the knight. Outside passer. Knight's looking for this square. Outside passer. Outside passer. Go back to offset the knight. Control this square. Okay, no, it's a win for black. It's as simple as that. He's going to throw in the towel. It's a simple king and pawn endgame win. Okay, didn't end on a winning note, but certainly a decisive result in this Lichess Titled Arena 8. In the end, he's up, what is that? A lot of points. 20 plus. Okay, Penguin 109, 103, 101, 98. Top 5. Walk away with something. And Terry just out of the money. He was in second place for some time. Yes, you guys are giving me the specific number. I, for some reason, couldn't do the math on that one. 26 points over second place. These are the money. These are the payouts for the top 5. 294 are in there. I'm not sure how many actually competed. So this is our first page. Let's see all the pages. Page 2. Page 3. It's kind of flickering there. Are you guys able to see all the... I think you're able to see them all. Yeah, I think you're able to see them all. You could see them all. Okay. And I will be paying some attention to the chat. I was glued to the board. Ooh. Might have stopped playing after a while, I imagine. Had a tough stretch. Rebecca Harris. It happens. Okay. A lot of monsters in this one. The usual case. Almost through all the pages. Yeah, and actually you could just tell that these players only played a handful and then didn't play anything. Actually, from this point on, we just had non-players. Those who just entered and joined and didn't play or whatever. Okay, that's your top 10. Congrats to Magnus Carlsen, Andrew Tang, and everyone else. Ali Reza. There's only that one game between Carlsen and Ali Reza in this tournament. Very nice. Decisive result.